Oh, my mother was a music teacher and Irish immigrant. I'm the only Canadian. And we sang as a family. There was four of us. And we actually, when I was four, I started. So there'd be 4, 6, 8, and 10, my sister being the oldest, and we would sing Irish folk songs. This is a small town, 3,200 people back then, Port Dover. But we do like the Lions Club, the Kinsman Club, whenever but somebody was getting elected. It was a long time ago, but it was fun. And I don't know if you ever heard of Tiny Talent Time.
No.
Was a show on a CHCH in Hamilton. I think it's on again. I'm not sure. And they would have Tiny Talent come on. Bill Lawrence. Do you know who Bill Lawrence was? He was
No,
no. He was the anchor on CTV National News. But before that, he was at CHCH in Hamilton. That was my major influence. She taught me everything I needed to know: breath control, pitch, timing, everything. And then if you want to get into singers, I would say Roy Orbison was huge. Gene Pitney was huge, and Harry Nilsson. History repeating.
Rory came from a musical family and was influenced by a wide range of artists. And those that are familiar with his work are unsurprised to know his first big break came in the form of a musical called Rockabye Hamlet, which took him all the way to Broadway.
At the point, Kronberg 1582, it became Rockabye Hamlet, which was a mistake. It was written by a Canadian writer named Cliff Jones. My brother, it was a rock and roll version of Hamlet on the radio on CBC. Everybody gets their start there. I was like 18, still in high school. And my brother, they'd written it for my brother, Cal Dodd, who's a jazz singer out of Toronto, did a lot of commercials. And he actually said to the writer, "Is there anything in it for my brother?" And he said, "Can he sing?" And Cal laughed and brought me and met him. And I played Horatio in the Hamlet down in Charlottetown at the summer festival. And we did that for 2 years. And then I was taken to Broadway, as with Bev D'Angelo, who played Ophelia. And that's where it all started for me. The break came from my brother. And then when I got to New York, the first person I met was Meatloaf. First day.
Well, Rory didn't stay on Broadway for too long. Rockabye Hamlet was not his only musical credit. He performed in the musical Leader of the Pack, which was written by the incredible Ellie Greenwich and was based on her life. Starring Darlene Love and Annie Sullivan, the musical eventually made its way to Broadway, but Rory decided not to go. However, he has nothing but fond memories of his time during the early days of the production.
And she called up, she said, "They're making me do this, Rory. Would you come and sing?" And she wrote, I don't know, she had 32 #1 songs or something ludicrous like that. And it was that time on the Phil Spector stuff. She wrote a lot of stuff for Phil Spector. Christmas Baby, Please Come Home. I don't know if you know that. That's where I met Darlene Love, who's probably the best female singer I've ever heard. So we went down, did it at the Bottom Line. This was so much fun, but exhausting. We did 16 songs. It was 32 songs a show, 16 and 16. We did 2 shows a night. So you're looking at 64 songs. If you weren't singing lead, you were singing the background, like the Spector.
Yeah.
And we did 3 nights of that, which was insane. But what a rush. Paul Schaefer was involved with that. You know Paul?
Yeah.
Okay, Paul was Lenny Pickett, who was the sax player in Tower of Power, Bobby J, Darlene Love, Carla DeVito. We had a great time.
Well, many of the songs Rory has sung on have gone down in history as bona fide hits. One of the most underrated projects he's worked on is 1984's Streets of Fire, which features two of my personal favorite tracks, Nowhere Fast and Tonight Is What It Means to Be Young.
Two of my favorites, even though I don't
Really?
think they were big hits.
No, they weren't. And that's because the movie tanked. They were, they should have been. They should have been released anyway, but they weren't. And those are two of the hardest songs that we ever did, because it's only where doggies can hear those parts. I mean, this is the guys were singing here, and we're like out of view, as you can see. That's where we were singing. I said to Jim, and his whole thing was, "Hey, Icy, what is there a higher part?" It was always, "Is there a higher part? Is there a high?" Because he loved the sound of our voices up there. And I'm, in that record, I said, "Only where the dogs can hear Jim." And he goes, "Well, woof woof, do it." But there's 72 tracks of vocals on Tonight Is What It Means to Be Young. 72 tracks. And the thing is, this was before digital. They had 3 24 2-inch machines hooked together to get those vocals. And we did those, we were, as much as it was, we did both of those songs in 2.5 days.
Those underrated tracks written by Steinman are just two of many incredible works Rory and Jim worked on together. In fact, there are many demos of just Steinman on piano and Rory on vocals available on YouTube. They are sure to blow you out of the water. So here's my personal favorite to close out the show, Vaults of Heaven. Until next time, this has been History Repeated.